Hi and welcome. My name is Joe Nakar. I'm a licensed tour guide here in Israel, and we're gonna be standing on the Mount of Olives. It's the best place to learn, to hear about all the historical events from the Prophet Abraham until the present day. This is one of the 3 clips I've done on the Mount of Olives, so enjoy it. Okay, we are standing on the Mount of Olives. As you can see in front of you, all these are graves, and these are Jewish graves. And for the Jews, it's a privilege to be buried on the Mount of Olives, because there's a belief that when the Moshiach will come, Moshiach meaning Messiah in English, when Moshiach will come, they will be the first ones to arise. And by the way, the word Messiah, it comes from the word Moshiach in Hebrew, and the word Moshiach in Hebrew comes from the word Mishcha, which means like a cream, like an ointment. So when people say Messiah, it means the anointed one. Okay, now, what we're looking at now, we're looking right in front of us. We're looking at Mount Moriah. You can see this is the mount. And on top of this mount, exactly where the Dome of the Rock, the one with the golden dome, there is a rock. And Jewish belief says when Abraham came with his son Isaac, he was going to sacrifice his son Isaac on that rock. And you know the story, the rest of the story. He was stopped just to prove the fact that he's a great believer in God. And he stopped sacrificing his son Isaac. And on that particular location, this is the place where the first temple was built. The first temple was built by King Solomon. Now let's talk about timeline. King David, who was the father of King Solomon, ruled at approximately around 1004 BC. His son Solomon came after him about 15-20 years later, and he built this beautiful temple, as you can read about it in the Bible, with gold and cedar trees, and wood came from Lebanon, and a special craftsmen, etc. This temple stood there until the year 586 BC, and this is when we had the Babylonians. They came all the way from Babylon. As you probably know, Babylon today is in Iraq. They destroyed the temple and they took the Jews to Babylon. In the year 538, there was a change of government. It was the Persians who came and took over Babylon, and the king's name is Cyrus. And Cyrus said, you guys, you can go back and you can rebuild this temple. So they came back and they rebuilt this temple. It wasn't a very nice temple, but it was a temple. It was a functional temple, but very simple, nowhere compared to Solomon's temple. This temple lasted for a while until the year 333 BC. I'm still BC, and this is we had an invasion from the Greeks, Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great, he brought with him Greek language, Greek culture, and the Jews were using this language, and they even gave names to their children, like Alexander, for instance, which is not really a Jewish name, but it's a Greek name. And life continued with this temple under the rule of the Hellenistic, is what we call Hellenistic, the Greek, until you get into the 164 BC, and this is the time when the Greeks decided to put statues in the temple, and this is the time when the Jews rebelled against the Greeks and kicked them all out. And normally we celebrate this in the month of December, which is a few days ago in this month, and we were under the control of another dynasty, a Jewish dynasty called the Maccabees, or the Hashmonean dynasty. Life continued with this until the year 70 just before, actually, in fact, 64 BC, where an empire was born in Europe called the Roman Empire, and we were under the Roman control at the time. But during that period, and this is what's really, really important, during that period, we had a king, a very famous king. His name is King Herod the Great. King Herod the Great, he was a madman who decided to kill his wife and kill his sons, and I don't want to elaborate on this deal. But he also wasn't a very nice towards the Jews, and all of a sudden he decided that he needs to be nice to the Jews, and he decided to, what we call, to rebuild the second temple. Now this is the interesting part. I'd like you to look at the mountain. You can see it's a platform, okay? And at that time it used to be the biggest platform in the world. So what he did, in fact, now I want you to all look at my head, and there you are, and imagine this is the mountain, and he decided to build the platform, and the platform is like this. So he built a wall. Now I'm going to stand like this so you can look at my head and look at the Temple Mount. He built the wall. You can all see the wall. The wall is like this, and then he built a wall to support the platform, which is the eastern wall, and then he built a southern wall, northern wall, and another wall on the other side, which we call today the western wall. And on top of that platform, he built the temple.